Right, so it is night 72 of my sort of intention to plant a tree every single day for 2023. So let's get on with it. Right, so today's planting is a little bit of a rushed one because I have a whole bunch of things that are just not quite right for now, and we'll talk more about that later, and I still wanted to sort of decide exactly where the other pecan is going. So instead we're going to be putting in one that I hadn't really expected to be planting more of, but I have a whole bunch in bags, and this should be, although you'll see very soon that I miscalculated, this should be a good time to plant out things that have already rooted in bags. So this was a volunteer that I dug up a while ago and popped it in a bag, and it dropped all its leaves and it has started to regain them. And so, okay, well, its roots have settled in. Of course, the roots hadn't settled in enough to hold the soil together because it's dry and dry sand crumbles. So that's a little iffy, so it will need more watering than I'd initially anticipated, but generally speaking that is a good way to plant things out in dry soil, is make sure they're already rooted, so effectively you're taking them out of one pot with their whole pot full of soil and putting them in the ground, keep them watered while their roots sort of work out that there is further to go, but effectively you're not disrupting them quite as heavily as I just did this one. So that's going in with a Dracaena fragrans as a nice little marker and shade plant, and a Aloe Cameroni and a couple of pieces of Kalanchoe fetching koi, which should keep it nice and sheltered around the base. It will eventually form a nice canopy around here, and it is one that it's good to get in around the same time you're planting other trees. So this is going in not too far from the Terminalia manteli and from things like the rose apple. So although it will probably end up below a lot of those trees, it should end up not affecting the soil as aggressively as they do when they're the first tree in, because they can be inclined to create a very particular soil by themselves, and so getting them in with other trees, meaning they grow up around other trees, means that they don't have the same effect on the soil. So that should be everything for tonight. Thank you very much for watching. Sorry it was a bit of a garbled one again. And please tune in tomorrow when I will try to have a clear idea of what I'm about to say. So while I was wandering around trying to work out which tree I was going to plant where for today, I had to extricate this little lady from the chickens. So one of the little roosterlings very nearly caught her. I think it's her. So this is Darling's white-lipped frog, or it's one of the sort of woodland and savanna frogs. I'm not entirely sure where it breeds, but I know the male's cold in water. So I'm going to be letting her go on the edge of this pond, and hopefully she will be moving in. But I always think they should be called gold-backed frog because that back is just so striking. It doesn't come through quite right on the camera, but it genuinely looks like someone has just taken some gold dust and glued it along the back of this little frog. It's wonderful. So let's see if she can toddle off. And yeah, if she is very well behaved, she will behave like our puddle frogs, and tonight I will find her sitting on some of these lily pads, but I think puddle frogs are the only frogs in the world obedient enough to do that.